I think you're doing a really nice job with this. I think in particular, I love the way that you're sort of taking um, the mundane and sort of hypercharging it and just hyperbolizing it and like using it as this source of tension and just it's all really coming together nicely. I love that you're not lingering on any one thing. It's just you're just kind of going from joke to joke to joke in a way that doesn't make this feel like petty or foolish. Like I know people who almost practically live this way, but like in a way that also sort of it highlights just the inherent kind of absurdity of the whole situation. um I loved the way that you found interesting ways to shoot this despite doing it in a room about the size of my college dorm. Shots like this guy's eye and ear through the crack of the door, or the shot through the water bottles from the back of the fridge, I thought really helped to add an element of visual interest that this easily could have missed out on. And I think it all just really worked. It was despite being total hyperbole, it was always just recognizable enough that I think it still felt like it was sort of part of the fabric of what all happened, and it feels part and parcel.
The filmmakers got really, really creative with their camera angles. The cinematography was sensational about this. And I loved the sound effects of the heart beating and how you could hear the breathing when he had the mask on. I thought that those things were really, really nice touches to add it into realism. The other realism thing that they did was the actor and his hair growth and his beard growth. I don't know how long it took you guys to film this, but obviously it was filmed over time. And I think that that was a brilliant touch. Also, the phone falling into the water grate, that shot and how perfect it was, that really added such a sense of urgency. And just for the filmmakers to be able to get that shot, I thought that that was fantastic.
I think it's really adept at capturing the sheer sense of paranoia that's brought on, by the pandemic. And I think by using iconography like sort of underground shelters, like the bomb shelters kind of thing, and that really evokes the Cold War. I think there's a clever little comment in there about the ways in which, we societies always sort of seem to leap to the most apocalyptic scenarios, and they're always the same thing, kind of. And I think that's kind of highlighted as well by the use of H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds as a prop, which I thought was really clever. Nice little subtle detail. But I also think what it does is it captures the sense of boredom and ultimately the sense of futility of sort of locking yourself in a bunker, because eventually you're going to run out of supplies. Eventually you have to go outside. And that's where the real tragedy of the film lies, because ultimately it's showing you how isolating yourself from the world leaves you unable to function in it, so that as soon as he steps back outside into the world, his inability to reintegrate with the world itself is actually what kills him, not the virus. So I thought that was pretty clever on multiple levels.
Showed how the news just scares the crap out of everyone, and it's like the tactic of the news is to be scary as much as possible. I really liked the camera shots, all the different shots of the situation, such as when he was getting water out of the fridge. I liked where the camera placement was in the fridge. That view that we saw. Gosh, there was no windows, no TV or anything. This was just interesting how he spent so much time in this place going mad a little bit at a time. I remember there was a shot with his eye like up close looking out. I thought that was a really cool shot. And at the end, I knew it was coming. As soon as he dropped that piece of paper and picked it up, I knew he was going to get hit, but it still scared me. Anyway, there was some kind of I don't know if there was like a pause there, and then the music, the horn and everything hit. It was just great the way you guys did it, because I knew it was coming, but it startled me anyway. So great job on that. The music and the sounds throughout, just the breathing and the eating and all the different things, I thought made it very interesting. I mean, this was literally like one room and one guy. The actor did a great job carrying this.
The pandemic hits, and this man is scared to death. He's created a bunker and locked himself inside with not a lifetime worth of supplies, but supplies to last him for quite some time. He's been in isolation for months, and he slowly loses his marbles. Eventually, the madness begins to overcome him, and in a rage, he pushes out of the house and onto the streets. He drops his crystal that he's been holding on to, and as he goes to pick it up, he's killed upon impact of a car that's passing by. That loud car beep noise is loud, and you have to brace for its impact that it's going to have on you. It really shakes you up and really keeps you in that moment of that scene.
Done really well. Like the idea, like one location, dude in the basement, locked in a bomb shelter or whatever, or for weeks and weeks and weeks, and like the whole title with the scared to death and the play on words and the double entendre, excellent, excellent. I think I'm always a fan of when short films, like, the title means one thing when you first see it, and then it means something different at the end, and it hits different, and the title ties it all together. This is a textbook example of how to do that well. So
A lot of people can relate to this, especially when we first started getting the kind of warnings. And if you listened to any kind of forms of news or social media, especially during the very initial beginning period of COVID, where countries were starting to shut down. You had here in the United States, you had different states starting to go like shelter in place, where everything was just restricted, and like as things starting to really shut down in a way that as a society we hadn't seen, at least not for this particular like reason of a global pandemic before, where it was a health and safety issue. um, I think that this kind of level of panic and what can I do and how at risk am I think it's something that initially a lot of people could definitely relate to, and this is just taking it to that next level. It's just what's something that everybody kind of understands and just taking it to that next place and pushing it a little bit farther and a little bit farther. And that's something that I think that movies and are great for, because it's something that is not wildly out of the question, but you just play it out, um, which I really enjoyed. I liked how they kind of slowly spiraled him out of control. He was okay for the first few weeks, and then he just gets progressively, and then in my head, like exponentially more kind of unwound and out of control. By the end, he like kind of seemingly forgets like how everybody else functions, or maybe he assumes that everybody is doing what he did.